So I remember my grandmother always saying, when you wake up, get up. And when you get up, do something. And with those words, I'd like to introduce this homily on sloth or laziness, one of the seven deadly sins. My grandma was a hard worker. She gave that to us in our family. She was a hat maker back before World War II. You know, they make these fancy hats with all the flowers and stuff. And after the war, of course, nobody wore those hats anymore. They went out of style. So she decided to sell baby clothes. So she built a huge business there in my hometown of Minster, selling baby clothes during the baby boom, of course. So she was really a great entrepreneur, a hard worker. And her husband died when he was only in his 60s, so she had to raise 13 kids at the same time as running a business. Can you imagine that? So hard work was a part of her life, and she gave it to her kids. Now, there wasn't a lazy bone in my dad as well. My dad grew up on a farm during the Depression, so they worked hard every day. And they kept the farm going. They didn't have to sell their farm or go bankrupt. So he worked as a high school teacher, get this, a bus driver, a driver's ed instructor, an athletic director, a coach. And then in the summer times, he worked for the town taking care of the parks. He also worked as a night watchman at a local factory nearby. That guy worked all the time. And then he had a garden in the back, and he raised lots of vegetables for us, for the 9 children he raised as well. You know, we always asked him about vacation. He said, you got a summer vacation, it's fine. You know, you don't have to go anywhere. So we didn't go on vacation. We worked. And myself, I got this from them, and since 3rd grade, I've been doing work. Had a paper route when I was in 3rd grade, and then I worked at a restaurant after that, and then on to other things. So work is a part of our lives, but we're all infected with this sin of laziness, this sloth. Sloth is a willful neglect of our duties. Willful neglect. You know, it includes procrastination. You know, I'll get to it sometime. Indifference. Oh, well, you know. Softness, or kind of an aversion to work. You know, like I always complain, I always get the heavy end, you know. And there also can be spiritual sloth as well, spiritual laziness, where we have a distaste for the spiritual realm, routine or hurriedness in our prayer, lukewarmness, and a failure to cultivate virtue. So I think everyone can feel that they commit the sin of sloth once in a while. Of course, it's rooted in pride and selfishness as the other deadly sins. Now, I think we give the animal, the sloth, a bad rap, right? Because sloths are slow. They're not lazy. You know, they have a very slow metabolism. Who have seen the movie Zootopia, right? You kids seen Zootopia? And the sloths at the DMV, you know, going very slowly. But they did their work, you know. They're just very methodical. So laziness and sloth doesn't mean slowness. That's a misnomer. You can be very methodical and very hardworking at the same time. You have to pace yourself, in other words. But so I think, why does laziness overtake us, though? Why do we get lazy? I think it has to do with motivation and a matter of priorities. Because I think most people can work hard if they really want to do what they're doing. If they see that they're motivated, they feel psyched up about doing something. The other day I was in the office late, and I was looking around at the workroom. Something not right in here. So I rearranged the furniture. I did it all by myself. Moved the copier over here, moved the mailboxes over here. Looks great now. It's perfect. So, but I was motivated, you know. But here's the problem. What if the motivation goes? What if you don't feel like it? What do? You get lazy. And you waste your time doing other things, usually selfish things or self-comforting things that don't comply to your priorities, your convictions, your beliefs. So it's a question of not of motivation, it's a question of dedication. to a conviction you have, and faithfulness to that belief. More so, faithfulness to a person. You do it because you love God, and you want to show your love for him. So that's our first priority in life, isn't it? To love God with all our heart, all our soul, and all our strength. So all of our priorities should flow from that conviction. It's a conviction of faith. So it goes beyond human concerns. Many people are hardworking because they want to make a buck, because they want to get ahead, because they want to rest later, right? You work hard now and you get your reward later. And that's okay. But that doesn't always get us where we need to be, because sometimes the reward doesn't show, and the profit, there isn't a profit, and you end up not resting. You're worried about your work and everything like that. So you have to have a supernatural motivation, supernatural reason to not be lazy, to do your duty, no matter how you feel. This takes discipline, self-discipline. You have to deny yourself, and sometimes just do it. You wake up, you got to get up, and you got to do something. You have to just do it no matter what you feel. We've grown so soft in this country, where we're not hardworking all the time. And of course, God gives us this great structure of our lives with Sundays to rest. That's when we rest, Sundays. Sometimes we feel guilty about not doing something on Sunday. I got time. I got all this time on my hands. I should be doing laundry. Should be mowing the lawn. Should be going shopping. All these things. Well, if you dedicated yourself in full during the week, then you would deserve the rest. We feel guilty because we're not really giving ourselves all week to our work, so that we deserve that rest on Sunday. God wants us to rest, but he wants us to work hard to earn it. Now, Christ is building our heavenly home for us, but we have to give him the materials by our work here on earth. So why waste your time being lazy? Why we could do so much more in our world if we dedicate ourselves to our duties, and to even more our duties to others, charity to others, works for the poor, etc. We waste so much time, don't we? Now, yesterday was the Feast of St. Joseph, and that's a solemnity, so I got to waste some time. I sat around and watched YouTube for about 12 hours. No, not quite. But I thought, what a waste of time that is on any other day. So, but we do waste our time on Facebook. We waste our time on Instagram, all these other things. Get your priorities straight. You believe in God. You believe God has given you a mission in life. You believe you're destined for heaven. Make your life reflect that, and work hard for that. There's nothing else more valuable in life than to build our salvation here on earth. So let's stop wasting time on laziness. Let's get our priorities straight, and let's work hard. Let's get up, let's wake up and do something, and make sure it's the will of God.